Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satkaram Brahma Vidvam. Okay. So we are in Narada Bhakti Sutra, and last time we saw Sutras 8, Sutra 9. So just to review a little bit, what is the nature of this bhakti? What is the uniqueness of this bhakti? And if we start from Sutra 7, there's one flow. The nature is nirodha. Nirodha means literally tyaga, renunciation, right? So this bhakti is of the nature of renunciation. But renouncing what? Then we see in Sutra 8, nirodhastu loka veda vyapara nyasaha. So this nyasaha is renouncing the worldly activities and secular activities. Then we understood that worldly activities, those that are not conducive to one's devotion, and spiritual activities, even sacred or Vedic activities, should be renounced. Which kind? Those that are of own selfish desire, those that are of the nature of selfish desire. When we pray to God for our own personal likes and whims and fancies, that should be renounced. When we do karmas for our whims and fancies, for our health, wealth, etc., that should be renounced. For whom? For divine love. Somebody who has this divine bhakti doesn't pray for that anymore. So these kinds of activities are renounced. Then further in Sutra 9, it says what happens with this bhakta. Because of the nature of the bhakti, there's what we call ananyata. Ananyata means there's no other. So ananya, there's no other goal but that Bhagavan. Ananya, the mind doesn't go anywhere else. In fact, wherever the mind goes, it's God alone. Where else can it go? Right? Then Ananya, there's actually nothing else. There's nothing else but Bhagavan. And Ananya, that Bhagavan is not different from me. When that's taken to the deepest bhakti. So this ananyata means that there is no other. There just is that Bhagavan. And this bhakta has what we call udasinata, which we saw last time. It's not indifference, as the word says. It is sitting above. Ut asina. It is sitting above. And so it's not that they don't care about things that are happening in the world. It's that their mind doesn't go there. Their mind just doesn't go there. Their mind is just soaked in divinity. And we also saw that it doesn't mean because a bhakta is singing and chanting and praying that they're not helping and healing the world. In that way, they also help and heal the world. So now, a little bit more on this ananyata. Let us see Sutra number 10. Anyashrayanam, anyashrayanam, tyago nanyata, tyago nanyata. Anyashrayana. What else is this ananyata? Anya ashraya, another support. any other support, tyagaha, renunciation of any other support, all other supports is called ananyata. So let's just think of what is our support in life. From a very base level, we have insurance support, we have financial support, we have support of our friends, relationships, community support. Any website you go to, there's a support. There's a support number that we can call, but they never pick up, right? So what does it mean that Bhagavan is our only support? This means that we do not go anywhere else. We do not think about anybody else when it comes to our yoga kshema. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 22, which is the heart of the Gita, Shri Krishna says that whoever focuses on me and dedicates themselves to me single-pointedly, to them I carry their yoga and kshema. Yoga here means anything that we want to attain, anything that we want to procure, that's called yoga. So we want a career, we want a family, we want education, we want good qualities. All of these are called yoga. Kshema means that which needs to be protected, protecting which we have attained. So whatever we have attained, it has to be protected because otherwise it might go away, right? So whatever education, whatever career, whatever relationship, anything that we have, to protect it, that's called kshema. And our entire lives go into these two things, yoga and kshema. What can I attain? What can I gain? What's the next thing that I want on the list? It goes into all of these thoughts of what is my new gain? And if it doesn't go in that direction, it goes in the direction of how will I maintain this? How will I maintain this situation? How do I make sure I take care of it so that it doesn't wither? And so our minds are just preoccupied by these two things. So Bhagavan Krishna says, just dedicate yourself to me. Ananyas chintayanto mam. The ones who just think about me and no other. Sri Krishna, meaning that truth, that divinity. To them, I carry the yoga kshema. Now, there's a very beautiful story associated with this. This is by the commentator Arjuna Mishra. This Arjuna Mishra was writing a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. And he came to this verse, 9.22, where Bhagavan says, whosoever is dedicated to me, I carry their yoga kshema. Yoga kshema vahamyaham. Vahami aham. I carry their yoga kshema. So he was looking at this in the Bhagavad Gita and he said, that can't be. It can't be that Bhagavan carries my yoga kshema. It's probably Bhagavan gives yoga kshema. He gives it. He doesn't carry it. So he crossed out the word bahamyaham and he wrote dadamyaham. Dadamyaham means gives yoga kshema. So he crossed out with a red marker. Then he told his wife, now I'm going to the river for my bath and for my prayers. And so she said, on your way back, please go to the market and buy these vegetables so I can make dinner. And so he went. And meanwhile, while he was in the river, he was on his bath, somebody came to their home. Who was it? It was this young boy. And this young boy had a red mark on his forehead. And he was carrying all the vegetables. And he, the wife said, who are you? And he said, I was sent by your husband and he told me to bring all of these vegetables to your home. She said, what happened to your forehead? She said, you please ask your husband what happened. And so she went, she cooked, she made dinner, everything. Her husband came home. as he was walking in, he said, "Oh, I forgot to buy all of these vegetables." And she said, "What do you mean?" There was one young boy who came and he had a red mark on his forehead and he brought all of the vegetables. And Arjuna Mishra was just stunned for a moment. He didn't know what to do. He went to his book where it said Yoga Kshemam Tadamyaham. He realized that what a grave mistake he made to cross out by Bahamya. And he rewrote it. He said it's Yoga Kshemam Bahamya. It's not that God gives us Yoga Kshema. Bhagavan carries that Yoga Kshema. For that ultimate bhakta, Bhagavan carries Yoga Kshema. There was one being, one person said, atheism is not that someone doesn't believe in God. Atheism is that someone worries about themselves. That's called atheist in Bhakti tradition. Huh? When we worry about things, that's called atheism. Because it's not that Bhagavan gives Yoga Kshema, Bhagavan carries it. And it is not that Bhagavan will take care, Bhagavan has been taking care. How do you think you and I have been living these past years, so many years? How do you think we've been living? How do you think we've been able to survive? Do you think it's all you or it's all me? Just think, when a baby comes into a mother's womb, automatically she expands. It just happens, automatically she expands. And when the baby now comes out of the mother's womb, automatically she's able to give milk. Just automatically she's able to give milk. And the baby eats, and when the time is right, automatically the baby's teeth grows. When baby is ready to eat certain solid. And then the baby crawls and crawls, and when it's ready to walk, when it's that time to walk, automatically the baby rises. Now, who's doing all of this? You're not doing it. I'm not doing it. We can't even explain it. But there is that cosmic intelligence who takes care of us every step of the way, whether we realize it or not. The whole world works so beautifully wherein the sun shines and the moon rises and the air just constantly flows. And water is always available and there's nourishment everywhere. There is what Gurudev says, it's a cosmos and not a chaos. So this Anyashraya and Tyaga means a true bhakta doesn't worry. They don't worry because they understand that it's not God will take care. God has been taking care. Every single way they understand that Bhagavan is there. Very beautifully in the life of Janabai, she felt that Sri Krishna was always there with her, doing her work with her, helping her in the fields, helping her clean. All in her abhangs, a lot of her abhangs, she just feels that Sri Krishna is there. And so this is what it means. That in bhakti, an atheist is one who worries. And for a bhakta, worry is a big insult to Bhagavan. Worry is insulting God's intelligence, saying, well, you don't think I can take care of you? You don't think I have your back? It's a big insult to Bhagavan. So, Anyashraya Tyaga. It's called Ananyata. There is no other support but God. And in fact, all our other support needs support. Those we lean on for support, they also lean on other people. We lean on an insurance company, but they lean on to other people. We lean on to the bank, but they lean on to other people. We lean on to each other in our relationships. They also lean on to other people. Bhagavan is the only one that's truly self-supported. He's the true Ashraya. Now, what happens? Now in Sutra 11, the next sutra, he's going to talk about how intense bhakti can actually get. So we saw in sutra number 8 that bhakti involves this renunciation of both secular and sacred activities that are not conducive to one's true devotion. Now in Sutra 11, he's going to take it to a deeper level, this bhakti. So let's see Sutra 11. Lokavedeshu Tadanukula charanam Tadvirodishu Udasinata. So how intense does it actually get? Loka Vedeshu. Loka in all that's secular. Vedeshu, all that's sacred. Tad anukula charanam. All the actions that are congenial, anukula, all the actions that are congenial to that bhakti, acharana, are to be taken up, engaged in. Tad virodishu, that which is opposite to that, not congenial to that bhakti, udasinata, one should rise above that. What does this mean? Now here it means even in one's family, even in one's setting, home, one's environment, if anybody is not conducive to the bhakti, then udasinata, sit higher than that. An example of this is in Mirabai's life. You know, Mirabai, she faced a lot of obstacles especially after her husband passed. The Rana tried to poison her, giving her something disguised as Amrita, but actually it was poison. But she drank it and everything was fine. He tried to send her a snake, but disguised under a garland of flowers, but it turned into a shaligrama. So in this way, the Rana kept on trying to persecute Mirabai. And it was too much that she felt that she had to go. But she didn't want to leave her duties because after all, she was part of that family. So in Vinaya Patrika, in Tulsi Das Ji's Vinaya Patrika, she writes to him a letter saying that this is too much. And I'll read you what the one translation of the letter. And then Tulsi Das Ji replies to her. So what does she write? She says, all the dear ones of my household ever create trouble over my association with the sadhus, and in my devotion cause me intense pain. From my childhood have I made the child Giradhara my friend. The bonds of attachment have grown too strong for me now to break. So there were some family members who were against her because she used to dance in the temples and she used to mix with sadhus and sants. She didn't act like a princess, a Rajput princess. And so Tulsi Das Ji, he wrote back to her. He said, those who do not hold Rama and Sita dear, shun them as your dire enemies, howsoever closely related. Prahlada defied his father Vibhishana. Prahlada defied his father. Vibhishana deserted his brother. And Bharata forsook his mother. Nay, Bali disowned his preceptor. and the gopis left their husbands in order to meet the Lord. And the behavior of them all was a source of happiness and a blessing to the world at large. It is in relation to God alone that all kith and kin are worthy of love. What is the good of the eye salve that only serves to make one blind? Take up the hint. No more can I say. He is in every way a noble friend, worthy of your adoration and dearer to you than your very life, who can generate affection for the Lord, such is the creed of Tulsi Das. So now here are the examples given from Shastra. How Prahlad, he defied his father. But when we say defied his father, Uttasina, Prahlad didn't have hatred for his father. In fact, after Narasimha avatar came, he said, please forgive my father. Prahlad was all his mind, we all know the story, his mind was always in Bhagavan Vishnu. Even if Hiranyakashipu wished for Prahlad to worship his father as God, Prahlad's mind was always in Bhagavan Narayana. Then Vibhishana. We all know the story of Vibhishana and Ravana. Vibhishana tried to tell Ravana to surrender to Sri Rama. Sri Rama is, is very divine and Sri Rama can defeat you. But Ravana wouldn't listen. Ravana kicked Vibhishana. And Vibhishana went to Sri Rama for surrender, for Sharanagati. But Vibhishana didn't have hatred for Ravana. In fact, when Vibhishana and Kumbhakarna meet, Kumbhakarna knows that Vibhishana is doing the right thing, but Kumbhakarna says what to do. I am in this position. So he had no hatred. It was Uttasina. Uttasina, he rose above it. Then Bharata and Kaikeyi. Bharata and Kaikeyi. Now, Bharata wasn't even there when Kaikeyi asked for her boons. But when Bharata found out, what did he do? He went to Chitrakoot. Went to Chitrakoot to see Sri Rama. And he took back the padukas of Sri Rama and he lived like a mendicant, like somebody who was living in the forest. And yes, in the beginning, he did have ill feelings for Kaikeyi, but Sri Rama told him eventually to bypass that. Because after all, if we look at the bigger picture of things, there was a reason why Mantra went to Kaikeyi, right? That is another story, right? But it's because the Devatas wanted Sri Rama to go to the forest because they wanted Ravana to be defeated. So Saraswati Devi made sure to go to Mantra, and Mantra spoke to Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi was only a nimitta. She was only an instrument. She's not to be hated. She was only an instrument in that whole large picture. Actually, she had a deeper role. Then Bali. Bali, we all know that Bali of Vamana Avatar. When Vamana Avatar came to Bali and said, give me 3 steps of land, Bali's guru said, don't do that. you don't know who this is. But Raja Bali said, I already gave my word, hence I will give this Brahmana, this Vamana, I will give him 3 steps of land. And of course, that's when that Vamana Avatar stepped on Bali's head. So we know that story. So now here, and even the gopis, they left their husbands, right? They would, whenever Sri Krishna came, they left everything and they just went to Sri Krishna. They just went to Sri Krishna. So Tulsi Das, she says, those who have this intense bhakti, they can also rise above and leave everything. This is for who has intense bhakti. In Jnana Shastra, those who have intense vairagya, they can leave everything. So both intense bhakti, they can leave, intense vairagya, they can leave. But now the question is, what about for householders? What should they do? They should stay. They should stay. What is the dharma of the householders? For us in this realm, if the vairagya is not as intense, if the bhakti is not as intense, then what should we do? We should take the whole home with us. As a family, the role of the husband, wife, The role of the mother and father is to take the entire family and uplift them, not leave them, but uplift them. And this is done in two ways. And this our parents have also done. The first way is exposure. The dharma of the parents of Grahastha household is to expose the children. Expose them, but without knowing that you're exposing them to something. Huh? Not that in your face, look at this Krishna Katha, this is your Rama Katha. No. But the role of Grahasthas is to have that library of books, to have that music, the bhajans, the chanting in the environment, to have the home in such a way that the images and the pictures are of divinity. So when the child grows up and sees, that's what they see. It matters. All the pictures, all the sounds, all the things in our homes, they matter because they subtly enter the mind. So the duty of the Grahastha is to keep all of this there so that we never know when the child is going to gravitate. When I was growing up, we always had a prayer room in every single house that we had. And it was an entire room just to pray. And I thought that was such a wonderful thing. But it's not that our parents told us, they told us you should do this Gayatri Mantra, you should do this. But they didn't tell us like very, very forcefully. But anyway, we anyway went to the prayer. My brother and I, we went in our own time and we sat there. And it's just having that there was such a beautiful thing. So the first thing for householders is exposure, but not in your face exposure, in very, very subtle ways exposure. That makes it, that's a great teacher actually, the one who teaches without you knowing that they're teaching you, right? That's a really great thing, very beautiful skill. The second thing is not only exposure, but inspiration, not force. So in a grahastha, in a household, what can we do? What we can do is be that inspiring person. When we actually live that Shastra, when we actually are so much in tune with it, when we are uplifted by it and our lives are changing and we are living more divinely, then naturally people around us will ask us, what are you doing? What is it that you're studying? What is it that you're reading? Can I read it too? So hence the dharma becomes to stay inspired and to stay connected to these teachings. In that way, by exposure, by inspiration, not force, then the whole household is uplifted into that divine path of Bhakti. So for a householder, that is what the sutra means. Now, we might say that these people, they're just doing whatever they want. The ones that are intense tyagis, intense bhaktas, they're just doing whatever they want. What about Shastra? So actually, they are the very protectors of Shastra. And what that means, what is that Shastra Raksharam? What does it mean to protect Shastra? That we will see next week. Okay, today we will stop there.